Hello, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you my dashboard that I use to assess market trends and to make sense of the market. It's all live links to various web pages to give me an overall view of what's going on, and because it's in Google Sheets it's fully customizable, so you can use this yourself to enhance it and make something that's really useful for you. So I'll put a link to the file in the description, and then you just do File, make a copy, and you're up and running. So what I do is I look at the best markets, factors, sectors, themes, bonds, commodities, and I pull that data in, second best as well, and the worst. I look to see if it's potentially overbought, and I look at the time frame I want to analyze, and then this is my overbought criteria. So the markets aren't doing very well at the moment, there's nothing really overbought. There's a website called TradingView, and for some markets it has a rating on them, so I pull that in if it's applicable. I use this tick box to pull the data so I can control how I'm pulling the data into my file, so I can just turn that on or off to manually refresh the data. At the front here I look at, for Morningstar, the top sectors, which is a bit of a broad brush view, top categories. I think that one's an error, over 3 months and 5 years, and I'm just looking to see whether this is kind of mirroring up with this. So you've got alternative energy here and clean energy here, so yeah, you've got some links through there. So this one is just a daily update on all the markets, what the values are and what the recommendations are from the TradingView website. Although actually what happens is that when it says strong sell, it's probably actually a buy because you're getting a nice cheap price, and when it says strong buy, then actually it's probably a sell because the price is really high. So it teaches me that when people are panicking, that's when I can actually participate in the market, and when people are saying, oh, everything's great and things can only get better, then it's a possible chance to at least not add to positions. And you might need to enable macros when you run the file, and then I just use these copy and paste buttons to update the data for the latest days. So this one is a US overview, and what I've done here is it's an import HTML. I put the website in, table in quotes, and then just the number. So that's table 3, that's table 4. I just change the number until I get what I want. So it's got all sorts of technicals here, and then it's got like an overall summary. Then also I pulled here, this is GBP USD exchange rate, Google Finance currency, GBP USD, the price, and then the time frame I want to analyze. So I just pull that in, and then I see that the pound has depreciated nearly 5% against the dollar. So my ETFs denominated in sterling aren't doing so badly, but if they were in US dollars, then they would be doing worse. So that's important to look at some of the currency movements and how they are impacting your portfolio. Next one is just the trend of the best performing categories over the last 3 months. And again, what we're seeing is when something comes up as like number 1 or nearly number 1, like energy, it then pretty soon falls back again. So it's useful to see what's moving up the ranks, but sometimes when something's at the top of the ranks, then it means it's possibly a time to take profits, and that's just the nature of the markets. They're just quite choppy and trending downwards. This one is John Redwood, who is the chief global strategist for Charles Stanley, and it's just a look at his portfolio and how it's changed over time. He's got quite a bit in the worldwide ETF, and then quite a bit of cash, and then a few other bits and pieces around that. But he doesn't have any factors like minimum volatility, and he doesn't have any sectors like healthcare. So yeah, it's interesting to look at, but I'm not necessarily going to follow blindly what he does. This one you use for open-ended funds and getting their pricing. So what you do here is you use the importxml command, you put in the website address and then this $A2, and then it'll pull in a raw price number, then converts it, gets rid of the currency bit on the end, and then it normalizes it either to pounds or pence, and then pulls through what the day's change is. So you can use this if you want to analyze your pension and find out what it's worth just from a spreadsheet, rather than having to go into various websites to pull the data. So that's really useful. This one is market sentiment. So it's percent of people that are bullish, and it's just fairly choppy again. And I've graphed it as well for you. This is a watch list. So what you do is you just type in the ticker, it'll pull the name, Sparkline, PE ratio if a company's profitable, where it is relative to the 52-week high, movements on day, week and month, and then where it is relative to its 52-week low. So it's just a guide for me as to some of the largest, maybe more meme companies and what's going on with them and what they're doing. I suppose also I'm trying to look for the new leaders in the market, and let's just see what's happening with them, because what we're looking for is potentially what could be going on. So end phase energy, that's interesting. Okay, now we go to markets. So what you can do is just put in any market that you like. You just need to find the ticker from Google. So some of these are ETFs where it has LON at the end, and then some of it's the raw index, so it's up to you what you pull. And then you just got the momentum, the spark line, and then where it is relative to highs and lows and closes. And then it's also linking to what TradingView thinks about these markets. Do the same thing for bonds, various different types of bonds here. Same thing for the S&P 500 sectors. And then the same thing for some commodities, I suppose mainly metals, and then also a broad commodity basket, which is possibly a better thing to consider because it should trend better, because you've got all sorts of things going on there that can hopefully counter some of the poor commodity movements. Now we've got factors, so it's interesting to see minimum volatility is the leader. We've talked about this in the past, and the stable earnings of these companies can be a good place to put your money in times of market uncertainty. Now themes, so again we have talked about thematic ETFs can be quite problematic because it's all just a bit of a bubble. I mean, I used to really love esports, and I thought, oh yeah, this could be the future. The games get more sophisticated and more people are going online and playing games all around the world, but actually it's been a bit of a dog. So clean energy, yeah, I mean, it's done really well. You just have to watch out if it's a bit overextended, or if the bubble's potentially going to burst there. Infrastructure is quite good in times of rising prices because generally infrastructure has RPI linked contracts. Okay, so this is some inverse ETFs where you're shorting various markets. So it can do quite well, but actually over the longer term, yeah, it's not worth holding. So you just need to be a bit careful with those. That's just for information. Here, I'm just looking at various ETFs and just seeing where it is relative to 20-day high, 20-day low. Just looking how it's doing relative to moving averages. So that's just useful for a guide for me, and you just change. You can select from a drop down to pull what you want. Then relative strength, this is just comparing two ETFs. So when this is rising, then it means that Nasdaq is beating a worldwide index. When it's falling, it means the world index is beating Nasdaq. This is 52-week high data. You can uncheck the box here to retrieve the data, or check it to pull data through. So yeah, not many at a 52-week high. Some things here: Foresight, Solar Technology. And then, okay, so we've covered import HTML. You put the URL in, then table, then a number. And then if you want to pull a bit of data from a website, so say if I want to pull this word negative, what I do is I highlight it, I right click it, I go inspect. It says, okay, that this is what the data is. I then say copy XPath, and then what I do is I just paste it in, and then I use import HTML, the address for the website, and then the XPath, and then it's telling me that this website says that it's got a negative view on the Nasdaq and it's drawn this channel, and that's what it thinks. But whether it's correct or not, you need to decide yourself. But it's good to just pull information from different sources, put it in the same place, so you can play around with the websites that you use, and you've got all the raw data here. And then we come back to the summary here. So yeah, minimum volatility, quite like that. And I've got some other ideas as well as to what I can trade. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please like it and subscribe, and as I said before, the link to the file is in the description.